from a fallout shelter somewhere under Seattle, Washington. It's the show you've been waiting for. Get ready to join your hosts, John and Kenric, as they talk comics, movies, and more. Now here's Spoiler Country!
Oh, united armies of SpoilerVerse, welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric, and that is Mr. Horsley. And today on the show, well, it's a different topic than we normally talk about. It's going to go into comic books in general, I think. Geek culture and the passion that we have for geek culture. I think it's the best way to explain it. But before we get into all that, let's talk about who we are and what we offer. So obviously,
I'm John. I offer long walks on the beach and a nice home-cooked meal of eggs and bacon.
Eggs? Bacon.
That's what I offer. Yeah.
Bacon!
Yeah. That's what I'm offering. If you don't like it, keep walking. If you like it, come on in. The bed's warm.
Hey, if you're hearing us for the first time on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or hopefully on scpod.net, our amazing website that offers tons of articles and tons of just debauchery in general. Well, not debauchery because we're not showing
no debauchery.
We're not showing any nudity that I'm aware of, but you know.
But we could for a price.
I guess nudity doesn't necessarily specify debauchery.
Yeah, you're off topic here. Go back to the site.
Anyways, check out the site. There's tons of articles for you to enjoy. You can interact with all of our writers and all of our podcasts, and we have lots of podcasts as well. What do we have on as podcasts, Johnny?
Oh, man, we've got us, Spoiler Country, as you're hearing here. We've got, excuse me, my voice is going out. We've got my other show with my wife, Haphazard Adventures. We've got Mystery Point Radio with Mike Peacock. We've got Shooting the Sith with Robert Savinsky. We've got, and this is a new announcement for everybody, and we've got the Nerd Talklabs boys, Deej and Lane, coming on too as well. They're coming over to the scpod.net to share their knowledge.
There you guys go. So there's lots of different podcasts to enjoy from, plus all the articles on there. Please check it out. On top of that, if you are hearing us for the first time, we're available on all of your podcatchers on your smartphones. So just bring up whatever app you like to enjoy listening to podcasts on, do a search for Spoiler Country, and hit that subscribe button.
That's right. And you can call us if you want to. The voicemail at 707-656-2080. 707-656-2080. Call the voicemail. Tell us about your favorite episode of ours or episode of any of the shows on our network here. You can send us an email at spoilercountry@gmail.com. And if you're a creator, or if you have something you want to say to us, if you're a creator, you can send us a book or send us a message to come on the show or have us review your book. Or if you're just a listener and wanted to say hi or bye, whatever, shoot us an email.
Yeah. So, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. It's a Friday. I got my coffee. Well rested. Doing good.
Good. So we have lots of conversations like every day.
I don't think there's been a day that's gone by in the last 3 or 4 years we haven't talked in some fashion.
Right. And
this is true. A single day.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, we even get together on the weekends a lot of times now, and like our families like hang out together for the whole weekend.
Yeah, did I tell you what? So Jack told me that for his birthday party, he wants to invite Ella, not Ella the friend, but Ella his cousin, which is your Ella.
Nice. That's
he was
awesome.
Very specific. Very specific.
I need my cousin at my birthday party, please.
Yeah, she has to. No, he told me she has to be there, and I'm like, okay, calm down.
We'll make sure she's there. Okay, so passion, emotions. How you feel when somebody talks about? I mean, it's a weird thing. It can be as simple as me talking shit about Superman, and you could get very riled up over it.
You would never do that.
No, not at all. So if people don't know, way back in the Wayback Machine of 2017, so we're talking 50 years ago.
Good. I was in San Francisco, so it's one of the episodes when I was in San Fran. I don't know which one it was on, though.
It's like within the first couple months.
Yeah, it's around the Godlewski episode.
We had a conversation about Superman. I called Superman a bully, not because I actually believe he's a bully, but just because. And
just to be an a-hole.
Yeah, just to be a total asshole. You got to use the full word on that one. So, but we started going back and forth, and we were having it was a discussion that was turning into an argument, I guess you could say. Johnny got so passionate and so riled up, he literally said, "We have to turn this off right now."
Yep.
And then we had to have a whole conversation. And then yesterday we had a conversation about Star Wars and quoting Star Wars. And you said, and I'm just going to put it out, and it's okay. We're not going to get into the whole nuances of it. We'll just go into it a little bit, and then you can reiterate if you need to, if you feel the need. So you said you guys had a whole conversation before I got into this chat room. So I didn't read all of it. I mean, I cursory read it. You know what I mean? Like you do. Same thing you do. If you miss 50 messages, you just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but you said, name another movie that's over 40 years old that people quote today. And I said, Godfather, Taxi Driver, Mary Poppins, which are all valid for what you said. And then we went into this whole diatribe of where everybody else in the chat room was probably going, I don't even want to get into the middle of this, which was hilarious because I know that you and I are probably snickering on the other side. But you got really, I don't want to say upset. You didn't get upset, but you got annoyed, I think is a better way to put it, because you felt like I wasn't paying attention to the whole conversation of what was being said. And I got annoyed because you said, well, kids. I'm like, well, that's a caveat you're adding after the fact. You know? And I just...
But you could argue it's not, though. Because I said people, kids are included in people, therefore the mass number of your argument goes down and mine goes up.
What? Yours goes down because you've actually taken away adults and you've minimized the amount of people. You've said kids. You're like, oh, we're talking about kids. I'm like, okay, well...
I didn't say we're talking about kids. I just included kids.
Right, well...
Which,
either
including
way,
kids, takes away a huge portion of your side.
It's still a valid point that people are still quoting those movies 40 years after the fact. I mean, all those movies, Star Wars included,
I didn't say they did, but I never said they didn't.
Ingrained culturally that they're even quoted in other movies, and not just one movies, like multiple movies and books and comics and everything. They're all over the place. All of them are. And
yeah.
But the point is, it's not the point of rehashing that argument because it'll just get us both riled up all over again.
I win.
But what caused... Okay. What causes that to happen? You know what I mean? What causes that passion? Is it the love of what that genre is or what those stories mean? Even if because you've said yourself, Star Wars A New Hope isn't like the best movie ever or the best story, right?
I'm not even that big of a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, you're not even that big of a Star Wars, but you do have a passion for what it represents. I think it's fair to say.
In specific to that argument, it was in defense that the whole thing started with George Lucas and his writing abilities, and people mock him for his dialogue and for his, Star Wars isn't cinema, and Star Wars is just popcorn theater.
Right.
The writing's terrible, and people just watch it
Star
for the
Wars
special
is,
whatever.
By definition of Scorsese, you would think, or what's his name? I can't remember his name right now.
Soderbergh.
Yeah, Soderbergh. Star Wars is cinema.
Well,
it's one man's passion. It's one man's ability to get that thing done. He wrote everything. He directed it.
However, Fox had a lot of influence in the first one.
How much influence, though? Because he tried to pitch that thing to a lot of other studios, and no one would bite.
No, I know, but Fox had, on the first one, Fox had a lot. It was after the first one, he had basically free reign. But, I mean, yeah, you could argue it, whatever.
Yeah.
But the whole thing started about, people talk about how George Lucas is a terrible writer, he doesn't write dialogue very well, and my argument was, like, whatever. People are still quoting his movies more than anything else over the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Like, people call him a terrible writer, but he's still being quoted more than these so-called cinema movies out there. And your point wasn't wrong. People still quote Godfather and Taxi Driver and Mary Poppins, but the argument there would be more, I would say, the mass majority of the population that's not nerd culture or not into those kind of movies will quote those movies not knowing they're quoting those movies, whereas when they quote Star Wars, they know they're quoting Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
That's the big difference there.
People know when they're quoting Godfather. I think they know they're quoting Taxi Driver.
I don't. There's so many people these days, and I mean them at work all the time. Adults who have never seen Taxi Driver, don't even know what that is.
Yeah, but I don't know. But that's regardless.
I'm saying this. You're coming at it from a different era, dude. Think about this. You're You're not that much older than me, but you're older enough than me that you could have a different crowd than me. I work in a tech world where I have a lot of young kids out of college, right?
So do I.
And unless they were, but 90%, unless they're fucking like cinephiles and watch a ton of movies, they don't know those movies. They may have heard The Godfather because their dad watched it, but they don't care about it. They may know but
a lot of that can be with Star Wars as well. You realize that, right? That was my point. Is like you're saying that all these kids, like they know Star Wars, because their parents had them watch it and push it.
Kids,
what do you mean
watch
bullshit?
Tons of kids. I mean, bullshit. Kids watch Star Wars even today. Kids have watched Star Wars. I mean,
of course, they watched it because people say, "Hey, you should watch this." But
they know
you're
the
saying
quotes.
that
people for 40 years have grown up with Star Wars. So, I get what you're saying. I'm not trying to discredit those movies at all.
It's not about discrediting the movies.
As a pop culture phenom and quotable and impact on society, impact on pop culture, Star Wars is way bigger and way more important.
I didn't say that they were more
and way more recognizable.
I didn't say anything about them being not important. I didn't say that they were any more important or less important with things like The Godfather or Taxi Driver. I was literally only talking about you said name a movie that's over 40 years old that people still quote, and that's what I gave you. And then
I said quote,
and then it went into a diatribe. Which is kind of funny. But this kind of brings up my whole point of what we're talking about today. Why are we both so passionate about getting this stupid point across that really at the end of the day, our world would not be that much different if any of those movies were not here?
Well, I mean, it's easy. I'm right. I like to be right, and you like to argue with me.
Okay, that's kind of that's a joke answer. It's like
I don't know, because I feel passionate about it. I mean,
it's like, why did you get so upset? Because when I said it was just comic books, there's a big part of me that's true. It is just comic books. Getting to the point where you get upset where we have to turn things off to talk it out is like, wow, why, and it's not you, okay? I feel the same way. Like, why do I get upset over calling Miles Morales Spider-Man? When everybody else is telling me, well, no, he's Spider-Man, and I'm like, he can't be Spider-Man. He's not fucking Peter Parker. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do. It's just the fact that Spider-Man to me is Peter Parker, and that's the only person that can be Spider-Man.
Even though it was been around there for years, right?
Well, no, that's not Spider-Man. That's the thing. That was like a whole storyline calling a clone Ben Reilly Spider-Man, and that was bullshit. I felt the same way then too. He's not Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker is the only person who can be Spider-Man to me. And I get like in my head, it literally pisses me off. Just like how you get mad when I called Superman a bully and it literally pissed you off. And I'm like, I'm trying to tap in. Why do we feel this way about things? One, we don't have control over. Two, we don't have any creative input to these characters at all, And three, what the fuck?
Well, I think so. I can answer part of that.
Yeah.
Like when you or someone that throws out it's just comics, it's just movies argument back at it. It's like a Hail Mary, fuck you pass to the person talking. Like, yeah, I know you're passionate about this, but fuck you, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not. It's like it's an easy way of being like, well, I'm going to take the high ground here and say it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. So now you're the one getting upset. So fuck off.
Yeah, I don't think that's what was going through my mind.
That's how that
though.
phrase comes across to me.
Yeah, but when I was saying that, it was more like I felt like this argument was getting higher and higher, and in my head I'm like, well, this is just comics. Why are we arguing like this over an asinine comment?
Because it's passion. It's because you love it. Right?
That's what I'm trying to get to, though. That's exactly what I'm trying to get to. Is why do we love it so much that we're gonna freaking argue over something stupid? Like, I can understand pro-lifers and pro-choicers having a argument where they're coming to fisticuffs. I can understand that. Because one side firmly believes in choice and the fact that they should be able to be able to control when and if they're pregnant. And then the other side is saying, look, we believe that life starts at conception and that, boom, that you're murdering somebody. And I can get in my head, I can understand why somebody can get so passionate in believing that. You know what I mean? Because it's just like if someone says, hey, I want to go murder Johnny. I'd be like, the fuck you are. You know what I mean? Because
like, hold on, what are your reasons? Let's hear the reasons first.
Right? What exactly did he do to you? But seriously though, I can understand how they can get to the point where they're almost killing each other. And sometimes they are, So that I can understand because that's a real life.
Well, I think so.
Political issue.
Just to kind of like separate these two topics quick. That's an extreme.
It's a total extreme.
That
it's
I
a total
don't
extreme.
think really falls into what we're talking about here because a lot of the people who get to the point. Hear me out. Real quick.
Yeah, but you just said something that just bugs the shit out of me.
What's that?
You said it's an extreme that doesn't fall, and I think it does because we're talking about passion and we're talking about.
Different, though.
It is totally
it's
different, and I know it's an extreme. I'm just saying I can understand how those people can get to that point, and not to the point that we're going to start killing each other. I mean, shit, dude. People were stabbing each other for a Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Yeah, people are fucking dumb. But
I'm just saying. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying when it comes to like the pro-lifers and the pro-choicers, I think it's a different ballpark. I mean, it's passion,
a whole
it's not,
different ballpark.
It's not the same kind of passion we're talking about here because what you have there is you have this. For lack of a better term, you have people who are getting brainwashed, right? On either side with ideologies, right? As soon as you bring in ideologies into something, it changes the topic, it changes the outlook, and it changes everything behind it, where it becomes more than just you're passionate about it or you believe in it. You're putting ideology behind it, you're putting religion behind it, you're putting other things behind it that are illogical.
When you look at let's take Superman, for example. You could say that you're, from the outside looking into John Horsley's brain, right?
Oh, sorry.
You're right. So, but no, seriously, on the outside looking in, I could see having my limited knowledge based off of Superman movies and the few comic books I've read and the storylines that I've read, that there is an ideology there that you like. That his hopefulness and his morality and the way that he treats people are things that you might strive in your personal life to achieve. And so there is an ideology that's happening there, whether even if you realize it or you don't realize it, there's things, especially when it comes to, I think, literature and art and things that you've interact with can definitely heighten how you perceive and how you act. So, and not to a point of like, I'm not saying like video games kill people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I things, but I think having, something that you've read over and over and over again. How many issues of Superman have you read?
A lot.
Yeah. Over 500?
Easily. I've read probably the first, I've read almost the entire first 423.
You've probably read as much about Superman as there is in the Bible. And the same thing for me when it comes to Spider-Man. I've read so many issues. I've probably read 500 issues of Spider-Man across Peter Parker and Web of and Amazing and, starting, I was lucky enough to read Amazing Fantasies 15. I've read, and then read a bunch of them. I've read the first 100 digitally and reprints. And then I've read a bunch of other things. So when you start thinking about it, of how much somebody's gone into something, and then to sit there and turn around and tell me Ben Reilly is Spider-Man, it's like, fuck you. He's not. Because I haven't read 500 issues of Ben Reilly fucking being Spider-Man. You know what I mean? But I have.
No, but
with Peter Parker.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, not to beat a dead horse here, but I mean, Ben Reilly was Spider-Man for a long time without people knowing, and then they pulled the reins out. I mean, like it or not, that's what it became canon. And
but I don't have to. But I don't have to like it, and I don't have to accept it either, and I didn't, and I'm not.
So is this a hashtag not my Spider-Man?
Yeah, right. Hashtag not my Spider-Man. But I'm just
hashtag not my president.
Right. But it's weird because in my brain, I know that. Well, you're being illogical. You're being emotional over something you have no control of. And why do you care? You're a fucking 45-year-old man.
What if Spider-Man, Peter Parker was like, I'm done being Spider-Man. You're the new Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Would they be Spider-Man now?
No, because Peter Parker is Spider-Ham.
Wait, what if it was like, hey, Ben Reilly, you're now Spider-Man. I'm done. I pass the mantle to you. You are now indefinitely Spider-Man. I am saying it no matter what, you are Spider-Man. I am no longer Spider-Man. I give up.
Would you be okay if Superman did that?
Yeah,
said Bruce Wayne, you're now Superman.
Bruce Wayne can't be Superman.
Why?
He doesn't have the powers. It would make sense. It makes sense for him to give it to Jonathan. If Superman said, "Hey, John, you're now I'm
isn't
retiring. You're not
who
Superman."
is Jonathan? Is Jonathan his son, or is he the
son?
Yeah. Well, see, that is easier to accept. At least it's his son.
If Batman said to Dick Grayson, "Hey, I'm retiring, Dick. You can be Batman now.
Right.
I'm done."
Well, because Batman's a little different, though, right? Batman, like you said, Batman doesn't have any powers, and Batman was built to be immortal. So I feel like it's different. But I don't know. I don't have the passion for Batman like I would with Spider-Man, or like you would with Superman. But why is that even there? Is it just because you read 500? Is there a connection to your childhood with your dad?
It's because you feel the connection to that character. I mean, it's because you feel connected to that version of that character and you don't want to change. It's the same reason why. It's the same reason why a bunch of old nerds freak out about the new Star Wars series, and how a bunch of old nerds freaked out about the prequels, because they're watching Star Wars. They love Star Wars from the 70s and 80s. That's what they grew up on. Not realizing those movies were made for kids of that time.
Right.
new Star Wars movies come out made for kids of that time, and they get pissed off because it's not for them because they're 40 years old. And it's like, well, these movies aren't for you. They're for the kids.
I felt that way
these are kids' movies.
when I watched the prequels, and I was running a Hollywood Video in Redmond, Washington, and the guy that ran the Bella Bottega would come over and we'd talk movies and stuff. And he's like, "Hey, we're doing a screening. We're doing the employee show for Star Wars." The first one. What's it called?
Phantom Menace?
Yeah, Phantom Menace. He's like, "Do you want to come watch it with us?" I'm like, "Yeah." So it was like the day before everybody else got to watch it.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know if that was legal or not, but that's what we did.
No.
But
we watched it the day before. We watched all 3 Star Wars movies like a week before they came out in theaters.
Oh, did you really?
Because of reasons.
Oh. Because of reasons. But I sat and I watched it, and he's like, "Hey, what'd you think?" And I said, "Well, I would have loved it when I was 8 when I watched the other ones." That was my reaction to it, and he started laughing, and then of course, the shit hit the fan when people were freaking out. Actually, when Phantom Menace came out, I remember a lot of people loving it at first.
People loved it.
Yeah.
All 3 of the movies when they came out, people loved it. It wasn't until later on people started bitching on it. Because I remember I saw all 3 movies opening night as well with my friend Nick, and every one of them was packed.
Yeah,
every one of them was full, and everybody online was talking.
I feel that way with Suicide Squad.
Oh, it just sucked.
Like everybody,
it was same.
Loved Suicide Squad when it first came out, and then like 2 months later, everybody's like talking about how much they hated it, and they still talk about how much they hate it. It's like, I still love that movie. The only thing I don't like about that movie was literally, and I don't think it's what's her name, Cara Delevingne or Delevingne?
Cara Delevingne.
Delevingne was that funky dance thing and the way they did her voice.
I don't mind it. I mean, I think the movie has no real plot. I don't like Harley Quinn's costume, but it's fun. Yeah. It's entertaining.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked it. I still enjoyed it. I thought Will Smith did a great job as Deadshot.
Me too.
I don't understand why everybody all of a sudden, maybe, I don't know, maybe they didn't like it and they're just still talking about how much they didn't like it, and everybody else is done talking about how much they liked it. You know what I mean?
I mean, people the negativity always outshines the positivity because people are just so vocal on stuff.
Yeah, and I was just like, but I find it interesting that we both have, and it's like recognizing that, okay, well, you're right, well, you get passionate about something and you go off and, like you said, you want to win your argument or not win your argument, whatever that is. And it's interesting to me that 2 years later, we still bring up that Superman argument from time to time.
Well, we have some of our listeners who have heard about it and have wished we recorded it. So
yeah, well, we probably should have. It would have been a lot of it. Really, after I think the most interesting bits were on the recording itself, because afterwards it was like, oh, I didn't know I was making you mad, dude. Sorry. That's really where it ended up being. It wasn't like there was some amazing diatribe where we both came to Jesus or anything like that. It was just
I cried. You held me, told me to be okay.
Yeah, totally.
Then we watched Superman 2.
We watched the Donner cut.
The Donner cut. Yeah. I don't know. I get it. I find myself when I argue about things, because I was in debate in high school, right? And I had to. I find myself a lot of the times being able to debate both sides of the argument. Like I can easily, I could debate your side of that argument we had very easily, and even when I was saying my part of it, I was like, well, if Kenric could win his argument if he says these things, because these would disprove what I'm saying, because that's what I did in debate. I debated on both sides of should the U.S. police the world in high school, and I won both sides when I fought on it. because I don't know. That's my hardest part about when I get in debates is I'm like, well, I can see this part of this, but then I have to like, no, fuck it, I'm doing my side.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I try to see both parts. I mean, you said this whole thing about I generalized things yesterday during the thing. I was like, generalized? I didn't generalize anything. You you said this. That's generalizing. I can't even remember what it was now. But sometimes, and you self-admitted, like, you'll know you're wrong about something, but you'll just keep arguing because you don't want to lose the argument, which to me, I don't understand that. Like if someone tells me something and then they prove to me that I'm wrong and that they, and they change my mind, then I'm all for that. Because I want to learn and I want to grow. I don't want to get stuck.
It's more that like if I'm wrong and I'm talking about something until I'm proven wrong, like on episodes, I'll say what I'm saying with complete gumption that's 100% true until I'm proven wrong. But I admit when I'm wrong. Yeah,
that's good.
It just doesn't happen very often, except on our very first episode.
So I really want to know what other people are so passionate about that when they get into an argument, do they catch themselves saying, "What the hell am I doing?"
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is. Like, I catch myself all the time when we bring up, like, for example, for lack of a better example, Spider-Man. I catch myself all the time going, well, what the hell am I doing? Like, I love the Miles Morales character. I love the storyline. Yeah. I love the plot. I love how, I love the execution of it. And I'm not wrong when I say no one says Spider-Man and assumes Miles Morales. They still say Miles Morales when they're talking about him. So,
yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem that I'm like, well, I don't know. And it makes it confusing anyways. Why do you want all these different characters being called Spider-Man? It's so fucking confusing.
Well, when I say Blue Beetle, who do you think of?
I just think of, I don't know Blue Beetle well enough to say I don't even know the real identity of the Blue Beetle. So I think of the, of the kid on the TV show.
So you think of Jaime Reyes,
yeah.
Right? Well, Blue Beetle was originally Ted Kord.
Okay.
For a long time, and they made
because
it,
like that's a device, for lack of a better term, right? I think on the one it's an alien, but on the original one it's not an alien, right? It's like Egyptian or something. It's a device that's creating that. Like,
well, what about Hawkman?
And you put it in, and then things, huh?
What about Hawkman?
Well, Hawkman is different too, because if you listen to our Venditti interview, then you'll understand that Hawkman is being reincarnated across space and time. So that's different too, because that is the same essence of who that person is. Whether they're called, like Spider-Man, Peter Parker is Spider-Man because you can't transfer those powers to somebody.
What about Robin?
And then, well, see, that's different as well, because you're talking about people that are practicing and learning to be that next level. They're quote unquote normal humans that have trained themselves to be to that point. And Robin can be Batman because Batman, it doesn't have any quote unquote powers, even though, come on, some of the stuff he does it's a little outrageous, but at the same time, it's not the same, just like, Superman, you said Jonathan, but Jonathan is his son and he has the same power set. So to me, that's like starting a company and getting to the point where you retire and then you're giving it to your son to keep it going. Then in my mind, I can wrap my head around that.
What about Connor?
Well, isn't he he's a clone, right?
He's a clone of Lex and Superman.
Yeah. So I don't think he could be Superman. I think
why not? He tries his best and he doesn't, he doesn't have the same power set.
But that's just me, man. I'm just saying, I don't think he could be because it's not the same. He's a clone of something. It's just not the same. So, I don't know. It makes it confusing. You know what I mean? I mean, really, they're never going to have Clark Kent not be Superman.
Not for very long.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If it happens, just like the whole Ben Reilly thing, that was stupid. That's the dumbest storyline ever. Anyways,
tell it to the writers.
I just did.
Oh, okay. Because they listen to
our
show,
they
right?
do. No, I don't know. Honestly, I didn't really. I shouldn't say that because I didn't really read that. And it could be an amazing storyline. You know,
I mean,
I was already basically out of reading of comics at that time, so I didn't really read a lot of it. I did see that they were like, "Oh, it's Ben Reilly's the." I remember somebody telling me that Ben Reilly is the real Spider-Man or something like that, and I'm like, "That's dumb.
Yeah,
it's Peter Parker." Because if I read Amazing Fantasies 15, there's no Ben Reilly saying that he's Spider-Man. And if you read the first, I don't know, 300 comic books of the Amazing Spider-Man, there's no mention of a Ben Reilly. So I'm good.
Well, no, he's in the first 300 because he first appeared in the 200 somewhere.
Okay, but he's not Spider-Man.
I mean, he most certainly wore the Spider-Man costume.
He most certainly. Sweet, it was Halloween. I find it interesting. It's very interesting.
What's funny about that whole thing too is like Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider was like a nothing character for so long, then all of a sudden, in the last like 3 years, his first appearance has gone up leaps and bounds in value.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Ben Reilly first appeared in Spider-Man 149.
Oh, nice. As what?
As Peter Parker's clone.
In 149?
Yeah.
Wow.
Jerry Conway created him.
That's interesting. That's really interesting, actually. Makes me want to go back and read it.
Yeah. He's a clone and ally of Spider-Man. Sorry, it says of the original Spider-Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was Peter Parker's clone in 149, and then they named him Ben Reilly in Spider-Man 51 in 94, and then Scarlet Spider in November 94, and Web of Spider-Man 118, and then he was full-on Spider-Man in 96 in Sensational Spider-Man number 0.
Nah. When did they stop using him?
They still use him now. He's still in comics.
No, I know, but as the main Spider-Man.
Oh, I have no idea. I'd have to read it.
Yeah. But, you know, it's dumb passion. You know, to me.
Right, it is. It is dumb passion. It's passion. I don't know why I call it dumb. I mean, don't discredit it, right?
I'm not discrediting it. I don't mean dumb as in and it's stupid. I just mean like maybe more like moronic passion that it's just I don't know. It's funny. I guess is a better way to say it. It's funny passion. It's,
can I make you a shirt? Can I make you a shirt that says "I'm ironically passionate about Spider-Man"? Only Peter Parker. Yeah.
That would be awesome. All right, I think I'm done on my diatribe.
Yeah, I think that's a good wrap up for the show. I mean, it's not an hour long show, but you got a good time here with us tonight, and we stuck to one topic, which is a new thing for us.
I think it's an interesting topic. I really want to hear if you're hearing this and you feel like a need to talk and a need to voice your opinion. Please let us know. Get us on Facebook, get us on Twitter, get us on Instagram. Let us know what you think. You know, tell us what you're passionate about, and give us that dumb passion. You know,
right.
Why are you so passionate about this one character, this one book, or this one song that at the end of the day doesn't have any real significance on your overall life, you know, except
or if you think it does have significance on your overall life, tell us.
Maybe it does. Maybe it's something that got you through some real big things, like Under the Table and Dreaming by the Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah,
I listened to that album a ton when my sister died.
Yeah,
and it just spoke to me. And I didn't know why. And I didn't.
There's a song. Go ahead. Sorry.
I didn't have a specific song, just the whole album. And I got lucky that year. My buddy Chuck was the electrician for the Gorge, which is the concert venue here out in Seattle.
Yep,
it's an amazing concert venue. And he goes, "Hey,
it's awesome.
Dave Matthews is coming for 3 days. You want to come help me pull wire, and you can be backstage and listen to the band." And I was like,
"You're like, hell yeah.
Yeah. And I got to meet him and talk with him for a second. And then come to find out that Under the Table and Dreaming was his album that was motivated by the passing of his sister.
Oh, that's coincidental. That's cool.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, that's really weird. And now I understand why there's probably little things that spoke to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I did get passionate. I didn't like it when people talk shit about Dave Matthews because they're like, oh, I don't like him. I was like, well, fuck you then.
It meant something to you, right?
Yeah, which is, it was weird and stupid and different.
Yeah, it's like when my nephew passed away, there's a song from Streetlight Manifesto called A Better Place, A Better Time, which I must have listened to that song on repeat more times than I could possibly count. And because of him, he was a really big Nine Inch Nails fan, and I'm not a big Nine Inch Nails fan, right? But like, they'll always hold a place in me because of him.
Yeah.
Like, I'll listen to him every now and then, or I'll think about them. And I don't like people talking shit about Trent Reznor just because I'm like, he was so passionate about them that passion, when he passed, kind of imprinted upon me for some reason.
Yeah.
Even though I don't really care for their music, it's there.
Yep. It's the same thing. It's an odd thing, and it's not a bad thing. I don't want people to think that I'm being, why are you so stupid being passionate about something? No, you should be passionate about things and enjoy life. I think that's what makes things happen, is having a passion to do this or to do that or to feel this way. It's just trying to recognize, why do I feel that way about this or that? And that's ultimately, that's the journey that I'm trying to take.
And ultimately, don't murder somebody over a chicken sandwich. That's the point of this episode.
Right. Don't be stabbing people over Popeyes. Come on.
Yeah. Right. It's not worth it. They're not that good.
So oversalted, it's ridiculous.
Right.
All right, guys. We're out of here. Don't forget to open the mind.
Read more. See ya.